I've got a hat on. You know when it's cold when Rusty B has a hat on. Russ on the West Ham Network. Hope you're safe and well. Thanks for joining us. Obviously, today is Wolves at London Stadium, where, if we're led to be believed, whoever gets sacked, whoever loses gets sacked. Whether you believe that or not, we'll wait and see. Hope everyone is safe and well. Hope everyone is staying warm. Stay warm. If you're coming here tonight, we'll definitely suggest a hat and a thick coat. I said I've had to go out, I had to go to the club shop and get myself a beanie out because I am cold. I am cold. Now there'll be no. I don't think it's going to be a match day watch along today. I think Anton is unfortunately a bit busy. Not busy. If he saw his house, you'd understand. A lot of construction work in the Baker household. But hopefully we'll have the starting 11 show a little bit later on, and then we'll be having the I'll do a review show walking around the ground afterwards. Hopefully on a victory. Hopefully for a victory. Strange. I was just saying to Mrs. Bunn as I was leaving the house. She said, "I have fun tonight," as she always does. And I said, "We haven't been having much fun recently." I said, "But tonight is a strange game, and obviously Saturday's events have really changed the perception of the game. Really, there will be, without shadow of doubt, 9 minutes. There'll be a minute's applause for Michail, of course, but that sort of really has not kibosh, that's the wrong expression, but it's really sort of curtailed the conversation that was had in terms of very much a case you've got, two managers or two head coaches, whatever your vernacular is, both in risk of losing their job. What's those call it, the P45 derby, and it sort of is. And how many times have West Ham got to? I remember, was it Everton with Frank Lampard and David Moyes? And obviously today I spoke about the possibility, according to TalkSport, of David Moyes potentially coming back in as a caretaker manager. What's going on? Honestly, and then actually also thinking about it, on TalkSport today, they had Slaven Bilic on the Jim White and Jordan show. West Ham Network had him 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, Jim. And actually, if you haven't seen it, if you're watching now and you haven't seen the Slaven Bilic interview, go and watch it. It's an hour and a half of talking about West Ham, and it's great. Old Super Slav, big fan of his, big fan indeed. Let's go for a few comments. Stefan, after you, enjoy your evening. We'll be behind from watching, so need a win for Antonio. I mean, to be honest, there's no more motivation a West Ham team needs. All you got to say before you leave, the last thing to do is do it for Mickey, and that's it. As I think Jacob Steinberg revealed, it looks like it's at least a year before any evaluation can be made into whether he's still got a career in football, which is it shows just how futile football is in the grand scheme of things. Literally 1 minute he's first choice, really centre forward. He's the top Premier League goal scorer of all time at West Ham, over 300 appearances, something like that. Within a turn of a road, that's it. He may never play football again. So obviously our thoughts go to Michail. He's obviously had his operation on his broken femur, but fucking hell, innit? That was a Saturday. I was in the cinema, and I just kept getting texts. Have you heard? The news? It was absolutely crazy, But I totally agree, Stefan. Not being nice, but I hope we lose and the coach gets the sack, because it's time for him to go and bring in Michael Carrick. Stuart, do you honestly think they'll pay money to bring in Michael Carrick? I don't think they will. The more and more I'm hearing about in terms of what we've been offering people allegedly, and the whole David Moyes caretaker manager, I think that's what, in all honesty, potentially could happen in reality. Because who do you ideally they want someone who's gonna hold the reins for 6 months, potentially. Massimiliano Allegri, he's wants to join, but he only wants to join at the end of the season. Graham Potter doesn't want a short-term deal. Michael Carrick wouldn't leave Middlesbrough for a short-term deal, unless they change their policy and bring in. If we're led to be believed, there's something like 5 or 6 candidates for the job, and the board are completely split between all of them. In the meantime, we've still got a football club to run. We've still got matches. We've still got a season to stay in the Premier League for. We've still got a FA Cup, which we're going to probably get knocked out in the third round with Aston Villa away. So there's still a lot in this season. So I agree. I'd love Carrick. I think Carrick here would fit. He would fit the sort of the young audience as well, but also the older audience. That sort of Lyle, Greenwood, boot boy. I'm not comparing them, but sort of old West Ham boy, boot room type, appointment. And I think that would appease many a fan. I'd like to see him, but I just can't see it happening. I mean, that's your prerogative, Stuart. I never want West Ham to lose. I don't see Lopetegui being a long-term appointment, but he said, judge me in May. I would assume there'd be some sort of review every year. It might be one of these years that we have to, I don't know, like go through the mill, so to speak, and then get to the end of the season, see where we are, and then make a decision. Then I think you're more likely to get someone like Carrick, or get someone like Allegri, or Sebastian Hoeneß, or Kasper Hluman. No, Kasper is a free transfer, but Matthias Giselle and these types of managers, they're not going to come midway through a season, because as Allegri has said, it will damage his reputation if he comes in and maybe West Ham get relegated and West Ham have a shit season. It's not that'll be on his CV. And I get that. I totally understand that. What we got here? Evening Dallas. Hope you're well. Afternoon, John. The team will play for Mickey. We'll stay in a job if we lose. We'll stay in a job if we lose tonight. I think if he loses tonight, I think he's definitely gone. I just think but in the same way, I think if Gary O'Neill loses tonight, he's gone. It's that cutthroat tonight for sure. I think Peters must win for the way the table is shaping. Me to get it. Yeah, and also we want to get a bit closer to the next. I think it's one of those games again that if we win, we don't go any spots. We get a couple of points closer to Man United, but there's a gap, isn't there? And we're sort of stuck in that middle bit. So obviously we go to an informed Bournemouth as well. Bournemouth's never an easy place to go to. Next Monday again, and then obviously we've got Brighton here, 21st. So last game before Christmas at the London Stadium. So it's not going to be easy. We've got to win tonight for Antonio. Totally agree. You're going to need your earplugs tonight. Well, in my box, Walter, it's soundproof. So yeah, I know when the fans are really going for it, because the box sways. I don't know if it's saying anything about the foundations. I'd say it what it built on, but the box sways when the fans really go. Do you know of anything the club are doing regarding Michail? Not sure, but I imagine there'll be something. I mean, I haven't got in yet, but I really assume there'll be some sort of get well soon, that type of thing. And then maybe on the 9th minute, we put up his picture. I'd imagine something similar like that. That's what tends to happen. You don't need to. In a minute, he's had successful surgery. He's okay. He's in recovery. It's going to take a long journey for him to get back. He's 34, so the odds are highly stacked against him making any sort of comeback. I think what will be interesting to see is obviously he's out of contract in the summer. Now we've done it before. Ogbonna, we offered Ogbonna a new deal when he was out injured for a long time. So whether West Ham do offer him a new deal, it's a bit different now compared to footballers 30 years ago who, Michail's a multi-millionaire, and so it's not like but I think there's that job security. I don't know what's going to happen. As I said, there's him, Danny Ings, Fabianski, Soufal, and Cresswell all out of contract. Soufal's like to be given a new deal by the sounds of it. Wouldn't be surprised seeing Fabianski given another 1 year deal, to be honest, but we'll wait and see. As much as I love everything Moyes has done for us, I think we really need to move on. I agree, but it's almost for me, TSC. I was thinking about it more and more, and Luke, bless him, on the West Ham Network group chat, he was getting a bit like PTSD. But it's almost like it's the next appointment after Julian Lopetegui, whenever that may be, is one of the most critical. And we said that for this one, but I think even more so because you've got that sort of embedding. We spent a lot of money. We've got a lot of players out. So now it's what's happening next. So if the person when it's decided, whenever by the board who they want the next person to be, if he's not ready, then I think we would maybe have a caretaker for the rest of the season, and almost like have this season in stasis. It's not what we want as fans, but maybe for the longer picture potentially. I don't know. Board will see straight through the players are playing for Antonio. Totally agree. Cyril, good morning afternoon to you. Doesn't surprise me at all that Taggart's been linked again. Scott, good evening. We'd like to get Southgate. Don't care what the players think of the manager, but I hope they go out there. Yeah, exactly. It's different, isn't it? That's what I'm saying about the conversation. I put something on Twitter saying, for me, this is one thing which shows football is a supporting act in life, and you've got the likes of Michail Antonio, who, if we're led to be believed, was extremely critical on Saturday night or Saturday sort of mid-afternoon. But for a twist in fate, I don't know how if we're led to be believed what really happened. I mean, there was an eyewitness report which said he was found in the passenger seat. So if he was driving and he got flung to the passenger seat, that act itself possibly saved his life. So actually, in the grand scheme of things, it's football. We're kicking a football around. It puts things into perspective a little bit. But I totally agree. It's a teammate, and they had Slaven Bilic on the Talk Sport today, and he was saying. So I think Jim White said, "Oh, what would you say, Slaven, if you were doing a team talk?" He was like, "Well, we're playing at home, but they should do it for Mickey. Simple." And obviously, he brought him into the club. What we've got here, Lopetegui is finally going to hear the noise. Rather have Garden Gate than Southgate. Afternoon, Ian. Players have got to go and do it for Mickey. He's sad. Always want West Ham to win. And Mickey has been such a great servant of the club, and decent guy at all times. Indeed, one of the only two still at the club who were at the bowling as players, obviously. So yeah, Mickey and Cress, isn't it? And like it is both from the God in the summer. So unless Mickey's offered a new deal, which could well happen. He's reckon you're sorry. I do apologise. Sorry. There we go. Thank you, Russell. Much appreciated. No matter the situation, everyone wants to see West Ham win again. I'll take the points, but just getting gone. I'm not convinced tonight is the match that matters. Win it for Mickey, but if we lose, to Bournemouth and Brighton, J-Lo. I think it's quite the opposite. I think if he can't get a tune out of them today, with Mickey's injury, with everything else, then that really does show, there's a serious problem there in terms of motivation. I think if we don't get a win today, with everything that's gone on, I think you could argue that actually it's even worse than not getting a result against Bournemouth, which Bournemouth are a bloody good side, Brighton a bloody good side. So Wolves aren't a good side. We need to win the circus because we are only a point ahead of. We certainly are, indeed. After the moist heat granny, let's get a win from Mickey. After the assault that left me with, and those I found the mental pain as much as I hope Mickey gets the help. Yeah, we know Mickey as well. He's bless him. He's had troubles mentally as well. So look, with things like the PFA and stuff like that, this type of stuff is all part and parcel of rehabilitation and stuff, Dean, isn't it? But not nice to hear, mate. I hope you're feeling better now. What have we got here? Get well soon. I love you always will. It's made of scaffolding, I swear. 10 to 11 West Ham. Are you on commission to sell these baby? No, I'm not. I bought it myself in the club shop with my own money. Thank you, Simon. Afternoon. Let's get a big win. Expat in Mexico. Hope you're well, mate. Not warmer there than it probably is here, mate. I tell you. Do you like your hat? Hope it gives you. I don't particularly like it. but I wanted the least offensive one that wasn't. We've won the Europa Conference League. I thought it because I got nowhere. It's pulling up, but hey ho. Gives things a new bite for Christmas. Judging from the picture, in totally is feel horrible, but always this Spurs to go to the board. Yeah, I mean, I said it this morning. Was it this morning? I didn't know. Maybe I said it in the starting 11 show. Horrible situations, but sometimes you get these sliding doors moments, which maybe we were sort of half-heartedly looking at a striker to come in. Now we've got to go all balls out, really. I mean, tonight, for example, we're going to have to do some new stuff. You know, the game plan would have been probably Michail to start today. And the fact was he was driving home from training, if he had to be believed, on Saturday. So you'd assume he would have started. That's out the window now, obviously. And that will be possibly forever. So we have to play a different way. Whether it is Bowen up top, not a big fan of it. Whether it is Danny Ings up top, he's got a knock, so he's got a late fitness test. Does Fulkrug start? He say he just come back off 3 months, so I don't think he does. So something different's got to happen. And now, in theory, it's Fulkrug and Danny Ings are only two main strikers until for a really busy Christmas period now. So it really depends about how we do what we do now in terms of maintaining. So it has to do something different. So whether it is playing a false nine, whether he's playing Kudus up front, whether he's playing Bowen up front, whether it's pushing Souček up to a target man and playing, there's lots of stuff we could do, but something new has to happen because Danny Ings can't play the same way that Mickey did. Fulkrug doesn't play the same way that Mickey did, So it's going to be fascinating to see what happens. Not necessarily today, but the Bournemouth game onwards, because today's going to have to be a bit of a pay for the cracks job a little bit today, I think, in terms of the team selection, because I guarantee Mickey would have started. That's not happening now. So what's the plan B? That's what we need to find out. Remember being really happy when we signed, being excited. Me too. So, yeah, I mean, he's a lovely guy. I mean, we had Slaven Bilic on a couple of weeks ago, and obviously he signed Michail Antonio, or was part of, the manager when that signing was made, and speaks very, very highly of him. Will West Ham score in the first half today, fella? Who knows? First half we bore him. The second half will come to life in the 60-minute break. I mean, it's going to be. I mean, I was thinking about it whether it's a war of attrition tonight. Both managers can't afford to lose, but a draw I don't think helps either. So the best way to get your respective fans on board is to win the game. And we have seen it's possible to play the way we do and win convincingly, like we did against Newcastle. That was the first convincing win we've had this season, where we've deserved to win. I don't think we deserved to win against Ipswich. We played okay, certainly got a 4-1, and actually Ipswich, either side, had their shooting boots on, could have won. First half against Newcastle, first 25 minutes. If Isaac had his shooting boots on, they could have got 2 or 3 before we even got off, got the second. But it's taking those moments. Tonight as well. I mean, Wolves have got someone like Matej Cunha, who could easily win the match. Himself. He's that good a player. I really rate Matej Cunha. I think he's a fantastic player. Love to see it West Ham. Really exciting player. But we've got Kudus. Kudus can do the same thing. If Bowen's on form, if Bowen's got the bit between his teeth, if we have the Lucas Paqueta we had against Newcastle, there's easily enough to blow this Wolves side apart. And I know we're not great, but neither are Wolves. Neither Wolves at the moment. Put Kudus up front. That's what everyone's saying. Scored from a corner after 3 months not playing. I think he's ready to start. I don't think he's physically ready to start, mate. I'll be honest. But there's not many footballers in the Premier League who have a goal every 37 minutes of Premier League football. Hashtag just saying, better than Haaland. And Tony being out changing my mentality. I'd rather spend a strike and get Tim on a free than pay big for us and get a Tim suggestion on a free, then pay big for a free manager. Yeah, it does change the way we meant probably our mentality, and that change has happened like that. And that's what I'm talking about, life, mate. That's why I always, any opportunity to do anything fun, do it, because life fucking changed like that. Michail Antonio he may not even been here in a flick of and that's what I'm saying here. Regardless of whether you think Souček should play or who's in the dugout, or whether we should have popcorn here or whatnot, or how busy Westfield car park is, we are West Ham fans, and it's times like that that you see the old community, the old spirit, the old West Ham United come to the forefront like it did over the weekend. And it's sad that it's due to things like what happened on Saturday, but it's still there. It's still there. That West Ham spirit is still there. Caduce up top would love that. David Moyes be handy right now, says Keith Lemon. Put Caduce up top, played there. That's what I think you should do. Go balls to the wall for a centre forward in January. Exactly. But the right one. So again, it's referring back to what we want, the way we want to play. If there's a certain way we're going to play, we need to buy the striker to fit that way. Not buy a striker and then try and shoehorn them, squeeze them into a system. And there's some very much more clever people out there, Analytics United, all those types of guys who would be able to give you Sloth from what's the name? And they were talking nice, and they'd be able to give you 10 out of the box suggestions. And Tim's got that information to. It's the same information. It's the same analysts. With Maximilian Khan, these guys. That's their job to identify these types of players that fit the right system. People are saying, "Oh, but bring some of the kids up." There's none of the kids I'd think are ready to take this mantle on. No, Josh Ajala, he's far too lightweight. He gets bullied in the under-21s. He's only 17, 18, bless him. Callum's on loan. I don't think Callum will be strong enough. Cam, Schweier, Brad, Dolligan, very, very green at the moment. I think there's the opportunity to do something clever with our attacking force at the moment. I mean, to be honest, you watched, I think it was the Everton game. Somerville played as a centre forward for most of that game, and Antonio was on the left wing. It's possible, just how you play the game. Play back three. Cresswell plays better in a three. It's only for a draw. Watching rumours of 5 players allegedly refusing to play. Well, again, allegedly, I have no doubt there's players who have got their nose out of joint. Happened with Moyes. Happens with every manager that comes in. New manager coming, new ideas, puts your nose out of joint. Always happens. I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens with the team sheet today. I think it's going to be interesting to see who's not included. That may give credence to that. And also, allegations that we've heard over the last few days. But then again, things like the Antonio situation does put everything into context. And so, if you see player X, Y, and Z here, and they're playing, that might not prelude that they have refused to play before, but because of Antonio, maybe they've had, I told you it's windy. They've had second chance and a chance to reflect. And again, you don't know the conversations that have been had behind closed doors about this. So let's not concede in the first 10 minutes. How did we beat Unbelievable? Indeed, because we weren't clinical enough. They could have been away, no problem, if we were clinical enough. I think that on 9 minutes, everyone understands. I think they will, mate. I think that goes without saying. Honestly, I think it should be Falkirk 9, Caduce 10, Somerville 7, Brian Wright with Soler, Paqueta. It's a shame. Oh, you got too many players there, aren't you? I think you got one too many in that thing, unless you play less in defence. But the whole Todabo thing, that's going to be interesting to see as well today. There's a lot of subplots to today. I think the main story is Michail Antonio, definitely, but there's lots of subplots. There's the whole Gary O'Neill's, his tenure at Wolves, Lopetegui's tenure at West Ham. There's the Todabo incident. There's the fact strikers who we're going to put in. There's other players who may well have fallen out. There's the whole Paqueta thing. Will we see the Paqueta that played against Newcastle, or will we see the Paqueta that he's played most of this season? There's so many. It's going to be really interesting. Love you too. Stop giving Sully money by going to this. Stop it by going to this soulless bowl, says Brusher. Everyone is more than welcome to do what they want to do. You pay your money, you take your toys, wrestler. Don't agree with that sentiment. If that's your sentiment, fair enough. But I'm here anyway because I work here as well. Need to score at least 4 to guarantee a win tonight. To just spend a bit of money for a solid forward that needs to be sold. Unfortunately, Jay, I think there's a lot of other teams that need a solid forward as well, which does bump the price up. And actually, it's horrible to say, but I don't know, I'm just picking names out the hat. If we did contact Lille about Jonathan David, they know we're desperate for a forward, so they'll ask for more money because of Antonio. And that's football. And that's the horrible side of football, that people will take advantage of the fact, same as us, we take advantage of the fact that a player maybe is out of contract. And so we'll get a cheaper deal now rather than wait 6 months. That's football, unfortunately. It's the horrible side of football. But people will take advantage of that if we come crawling not crawling, but if we turn up and say, can we buy your striker? Oh, yeah, it's extra 5 million on top. Can we afford to replace? We will have to. As we need them prepared to fight, not whining prima donnas. I don't think so, Pete. I think they've been very unlucky on 21. I'll be honest. They've been very unlucky at the moment. They play tomorrow. We've got a game tomorrow. We've got Borussia Mönchengladbach in a kind of dead rubber, I think it is. I haven't looked at the group stages, but losing to Lyon. I haven't seen what the extra games were within the sort of table, but I think it's either going to be Rush Green or Dagenham Redbridge. 7 p.m. kickoff. If you really are into the academy, like I hear everyone saying, and you love the academy, you get out to Rush Green. I can get down there tomorrow, mate, and cheer the boys on, peeps. Not Pete, peeps. I mean, because it's a couple of quid. I think it might be even free for season ticket holders. If not, it's a £5, and cheer on the under 21s. And then people say to me, "Oh yeah, I love the academy." I don't see any difference in the attendance down there, mate. And the academy, and it's cheap, and it's not like you can't get a ticket. So if you can get there, get there. Acor Adams, yeah, the player been linked to definitely. We'll see. I thought Brozier would have been good, but not sure. Doesn't need a system. They certainly do. Was he returning? Apparently, I think he was. Sully does live up the road, though. Yeah, it's near where Manan used to live. God rest his soul. Along, I mean, it's that Coppice Row. So anyone who knows it's the roundabout. There's a Miller and Carter. It's roundabout through them boys. Sully's house is a little bit further down the road to that. It is on the way. It's at the top of the hill, and you go down. And my nan used to live sort of opposite the forest, and it's a winding road. It's a road which people do go fast down. I'm not saying Michail did, but what I'm saying is it's a windy road. It's a good driving road. It was a very windy day on Saturday around Thaden Boys, and very wet, and so it's a recipe for disaster down that road. Sometimes you do see a lot of crashes down that road. Yeah, he does. I'm pretty sure Michail does live that way anyway. So he was apparently coming back from training. West Ham win 4-0 says Kevin Lemon. What else we got? Let's go for a few more comments. Loads. Just in for an attack. I'm not sure how players are thinking of not when defeat is down to them. Same with everyone. When a manager goes, or it's always. I'm not saying everything's on Lopetegui's fault, but the players aren't playing well. Is it due to a lack of motivation? It could be. Is it down to the wrong system? It could be. But these guys are professional players as well, and they need to take some credit, or take some not credit, criticism. They haven't played well. The fact is, when we saw Paqueta play the other day against Newcastle, as the best game I've seen him play for 18 months. Now, there's mitigating circumstances. The fact is, when you look at our top goal scorers this year, top of the pile, joint top is Thomas Souček, not Kudus. And why is he not Kudus? Because you get a 5-match ban because he pushed someone. He showed a lack of professionalism. Hey, look, put fun with. Don't forget to like that picture. it always goes. And actually, to be fair, Lopetegui, he's been taking it all on himself. During the press conference, several times he was asked about the performance of the players. He goes, "No, don't criticise the players, criticise me," which I thought it was quite an admirable thing to do, if not a little bit silly, but that's what he's like, and he's trying to create. It does seem he's trying to create a sort of surge mentality, but then a number of the players don't want to be in that surge mentality, if we're led to be believed. Is he even fit enough? I don't think he's fit enough to start, personally. If Moyes did return, he would be like a smug bug in a rug, and I'm here to save you again attitude. Possibly, but it's a 6-month deal. If he did come back, and it would be heavily incentivized. There wouldn't be, and it's almost like, I mean, as I said, I was talking to some people the other day, and I if you look at our managers under the current ownership who've come in, there's only one person who's had prolonged success. Only one person who's had. Also, I keep moving this thing. There's one person who's had prolonged success, who's won a trophy, who's taken us to in this madness, in this way, in this way we're all in, and that's him. But football is a funny old game, as Jimmy Greaves would say. Hi, I've just seen the reports. Surely this can't happen. We can get into around a new guy comes in. It's scary if Moyes comes back again. These players, half these players of the careers have. It would be a caretaker manager. Now, there are people internally who could do that job as well. We've got a lot of ex-Hammers as well, which would appease a certain proportion of the fan base. People, who's Mark Noble? Mark Noble, I don't think he's got his qualifications, so that's a non-starter. Kevin Keane, he's got a consultant job. He could potentially do it. Potsy could do it. He's sort of assistant to Mark Robson at the moment. You could, Jim White asked Slaven Bilic, would he come back? And he said he'd love to sometime. Would he come back in a short-term deal? Don't think he would. He'd want the keys to the castle. So it doesn't definitely narrow your pool if that's the way you're going. And actually, would I rather that happen and then get the person we want in the summer? Yes. I wouldn't want to get someone in now who gets 6 months and then has another 2-year deal, and then in 3 years we're in the same position as we are now. I'd rather get someone in if they said, right, this is the guy we want, whether it is Allegri or Michael Carrick or this is the guy we want. He's not come to the summer, so this is what's happening. It's not working with J-Lo. We're going to bring someone in. They're going to come 6 months, and that's it. And they know that's their job for 6 months. Or maybe they get someone who is nearing retirement, maybe, and could go upstairs. I don't know. No choice but to play. Yeah, probably right, mate. Actually, hope we look at. That's apparently what we were looking at. Getting championship. There was the guy from Middlesbrough we were looking at as well, the striker, Hayden Hackney. There's some good players in the championship, and that was the idea, to try and get people in and stop the whole narrative that they're not ready for the English game. They've already played 100, 150 championship games or Premier League and dropped down, or that's. There's no surprise that Max Kilman and Aaron Wan-Bissaka are the two guys who are possibly the most who are best signings so far this season. Most Premier League clubs, the vast majority is income shows, and not totally is. Yeah, it's about 30. I think, if I'm right in thinking, it's either, I did a thing, I think it's 17% of West Ham's revenue comes from gate receipts. So it's not, it's a relatively small percentage. The majority is advertising and TV rights. I think that's split, 40, something like 42, 40. So it's very, and it's clear, where the strategy is. The strategy is, getting the good. I mean, obviously, you had a quite good run on Sky recently, haven't we? To be fair, Ad, hope you're well, mate. My 11 be Fab, Kilman, Emerson, Soler, Suchek. There's my mistake. Bowen, Kudus, Somerville, Fulcrum. Being hauled on halted on bringing in. It will set the development back in development. Yeah, fair play. Predicting nil no, both managers will be sacked. All right, everyone. Hope you're well. Look, worst result doesn't happen. It's positive. Put him into action. Otherwise, the tension builds up to the point where it comes to blows. In my opinion, I thought Sully was the king. Chigwell allowed. No, Sully lives in Daden Boys. Big old mansion on the way down. So no, he's Daden Boys at the top of the hill. You can't miss it. It's a huge. Well, actually, you can because it's a big mansion right on the way back. But that's through that bit. It's well known he lives there. I like that they untamed teams once they get the system. Yep, some good players. There's some good players in the 18s. As I said, there's my boy Edris Colin-Beckis. You know, you've got Favour for Romney. You've got a number of them have been moving up. Ezra Mayers has moved up to 21 for the time being. You've got Amika Adiele. You've got some really good players in the 18s. And because of our policy of sending out the 21s on loan, it means these guys can move up. And that's what they need. They need to be playing an older level earlier on to build up their strength, in my opinion. We're playing. Okay, Chigwell Construction Centre. All right, we're playing at the Chigwell Construction Centre tomorrow then. I'm proud of anyone who puts on the shirt tonight. Totally agree. I don't know how I feel, Martin. I mean, you know, of course he's open to it because he hasn't worked since. And he knows he can come in and he knows he can probably get a tune with a better side that he's got now in there than he left, you know, much better side on paper, better squad. Be interested to see because obviously I think Luke made the point or someone that, you know, we've got a case where we've got, you know, a squad. I mean, Moyes traditionally used to like a squad. He liked 11. But then the players, if there was any disheartenment with the players, the narrative is he's, you know, this is a 6-month holding like appointment, and then we'll bring in in the summer. I don't know. Thing is, most clubs look to change. West Ham and now Spurs, if they're all good, got sacked. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of players, a lot of managers looking at the jobs, and you know, you're thinking West Ham, Wolves, Spurs potentially. You know, people say, "Oh, I'd love Ange here," but it hasn't worked for Spurs. You know, this mentality, this sort of. I think on Talk Sport, Hawksby Jacobs, he's a Spurs fan, and he said it's like a bunch of kids playing on drinking Sunny D before they play football. There's no halfway house, and we've had that before. We had Flavon from the Fighting Cock and JAFFN, and he was saying, I wish sometimes we'd just literally shithouse the result out, or if we're winning, tie up the game rather than keep playing this cavalier style of football, which is exciting, but they are constantly on edge, and they've had some really bad games. Could we ever play? I think that's an option. I genuinely think that's an option, and then playing Kudus off him as the false 9. I think so. I think the players will play for Mickey tonight. I also think we get convincing wing. West Ham need to appoint long term. The caretaker will cause us so much trouble. It could do. I'm sorry, Matt, but it keeps rucking up, and I don't like it because it's brand new. I've got to stretch out the elastic a little bit. Going back to Dad's Our podcast, I mean, it's what we've said before. You and me had short-term pain for long-term gain. You know, if it means that actually that our main target now doesn't want to join until the summer, do you keep Lopetegui for that until then? Because the option is otherwise you bring in a short-term appointment, heavily incentivized short-term appointment, monetary incentivized rather than contract, and they'll be incentivized to do something. Whether it was okay, well, you know, I'm just speculating, but you know, £1 million for winning the FA Cup, or you know, £1 million for getting us into Europe. All still possible this time. You know, it's not the what's it called, the desperate situation at the moment. We don't need a firefighter to come in to save us. But if it means we need someone on a short-term loan because the guy we want, Michael Carrick, he ain't going to leave Middlesbrough for a short-term deal. It would leave Middlesbrough on a decent contract coming in, plus we'd have to buy out his contract, which may be cheaper in the summer if he doesn't qualify for the Premier League, for example. They could easily, you know, get promoted, and then we're paying twice as much if we want him out of contract. I don't think the right managers in their right mind will take the Wolves job. Weren't we supposed to win convincingly? We were indeed. You can't go back to Moyes after everything that's been done. I'd have Kevin Nolan over Moyes. Option. Jack Collisham hasn't pulled up any trees. I love Jack, but he hasn't done very well in the States. I mean, you could pick probably half a dozen players who are West Ham people. People talk to Trevor Brooking. So Trev's, bless him, he's knackered. You know, I mean, that was 20 odd years ago that Sir Trevor Brooking was in the dugout for us. A lot's changed. You can go from 50 to 70, and I think it's probably about mid 70s now. Your life changes a lot. And it's got to be someone. I mean, it's got to be someone who's has a bit of Premier League nous about them already. They know how it all works. I mean, you know, there's no point getting a complete unknown in for 6 months, because what are they going to do for 6 months? You know what I mean? It can take them 6 months to get ready. You want someone who can come in. I'm going to throw some names out. And I'm not saying these are, but you do want someone like Moyes, or someone like Pardew, or someone who's literally going to come in, hit the ground running, who knows the Premier League, knows how it all works. And, you know, I think it ain't a bad shout, Pardew coming for 6 months. And that's it. You know what I mean? That's it. After 6 months, it all goes to pot a little bit. But we played some good football under him. Don't know. If I'm not behind Moyes, I worry about certain. Yeah, indeed. I'd rather keep than go internally. Bilic. Would Bilic take a 6 month deal? No way at all. Although he's a West Ham fan, I don't think he'll take a 6 month deal, to be honest. Give Tim a pick with KPIs, but then you'd have to give him a longer term than 6 months, wouldn't you? And either are the people he wants ready for 6 months? I don't know. It would represent a disaster if we change a manager. If we do, I'll get Allegri. How come we got? I don't know. We just have, mate. Out of curiosity, could the club look to their feeder and borrow a coach or Peter Packer? I don't know if we have. I don't know if the partnership with Clankenfurt is still there, because we've never really utilised that, apart from bought a player and lent to them. It could do, but again, it's like if it's a short-term deal, 6 months isn't. Someone like Freeze needs 3 or 4 months to get up and running in the Premier League, isn't it? We talk about players, same with managers. I'm sure they will, mate. David Sullivan brought up, so you have to take responsibility. But for me, if the board do not try to repair the damage they have caused this season, time's up. Do you feel that our data-led approach will be the reason we'll keep his job? There's lots of recent improvements. Yeah, well, that's what he's talking about, isn't it? He's talking about his KPIs. He's like, 2 of his KPIs he's done, and it's true. You know, XG's gone up, shots on target have gone up, possession stats have gone up. That's the type of data-led analysis you'll be looking at. So quite possibly. But the main one is that third one, in terms of winning a lot more games, which we haven't. Pompey, love him. Yep, I totally agree, and that's the right thing. And then what I did next year is send out Lewis out on loan. Freddie comes back, send Lewis out on loan. That's what you do, because, you know, Guido's gone, so there we go. If we don't go get Carrick, watch Spurs jump in. Totally right. But then Spurs, if Spurs want to make a change, and they might want to make a change now and offer Carrick a 2.5 or 3.5 year deal. Unless we do that, he's not going to come to us. And I totally agree. I think the whole Ange Postecoglou stuff has really opened up the possibility of us trying to get Carrick, but it would mean paying out a contract. It would mean offering him more than he wouldn't be a short-term loan. If we want a short-term deal, he would have to go in with a long-term deal to have any chance of us getting him. Right, I'm going through more because I've got to go because I'm absolutely freezing. And now our squad ain't that much worse at all. Spurs, I totally agree. I'll keep until a long time. Yeah, but I don't think it's not going to work for us. We need to change our way of approaching coaches. Yeah, but that's why I don't mind if we do a 6 month deal. It's a little bit Pellegrini about it, granted, but I don't mind doing a 6 month deal if we know that Allegri's coming in, or we know that the next one's coming in, or Will Still's coming in, or da-da-da-da's coming in. You know what I mean? So there's this trajectory, this planning, rather than get someone in just to, if he's, I don't even mind getting someone in to steady the ship, because it is a rocky ship at the moment. But I'd rather do that than necessarily keep, what would we have more long-term damage by keeping Lopetegui than bringing a fresh face, both from a fan base perspective and from a playing staff perspective. I don't, and a brand perspective as well. That's important. How have we gone over Rotten? We were under Moyes. We were indeed. Liam Malling, he ain't going to come on a short-term loan, though, is he? Let's be honest. When we got other players go and get the right manager for the right job, indeed. Big Sam, would anyone take a punt? No. What we got here? Right, everyone's doing each other. Yes, Ludders, definitely thermals. It's freezing. That's why I bought a hat. How about that Dutch-speaking maverick? Well, he's a Jamaican national coach, isn't he? So, some outrageous. Oh, no way. Oh, it would. If you think it's bad now with the players, could you imagine Di Canio? Oh God. So, I'm trying to stop my bags all flying. Right, I'm gonna have to go because I'm absolutely fucking freezing. Now that could be a shout because he's out because he'll be out of season, but he'll been playing him out of contract. I don't think that's what will happen. Anyway, people, I'm going to go. Have a great day. Hopefully, we'll get the result you want, which is if it's a victory. If some of you want us to lose, probably not that one. But if you're looking us to win, then I hope we get the win because I want to get the win because that's what I want. And I'll probably do a review show after the game. Maybe Ant might join me for that. All that type of stuff. We have the starting 11 show starting soon as well. So keep an eye on that. But until next time, my peeps, take care. Stay safe, stay warm, stay humble, keep the faith. And I'll see you soon. Much love. Bye-bye.